Detective Jameson had seen a lot in his years on the force, but nothing quite like the old mansion on the edge of town. The place was practically begging to be investigated, and he couldn't resist the temptation. He arrived at the mansion just before dusk, the sun setting behind him, casting long shadows across the overgrown lawn. The mansion was in a state of disrepair, the once grand exterior now crumbling and covered in vines. Jameson pushed open the front door and was immediately hit with the musty smell of neglect. Cobwebs hung from the ceilings and the furniture was covered in dust sheets. As Jameson made his way through the mansion, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He tried to convince himself that it was just his imagination, but the hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. Eventually, he came to a room at the end of a long corridor. The door was slightly ajar, and Jameson could hear faint whispers coming from inside. He pushed the door open and was greeted with a sight that made his blood run cold. The room was filled with dolls, all lined up on shelves that ran along the walls. But these were no ordinary dolls. Their eyes followed him as he moved around the room, and he could have sworn that he heard them whispering to each other. Jameson felt a cold hand grip his shoulder, and he spun around to see a figure in a hooded cloak standing behind him. The figure spoke in a voice that chilled Jameson to the bone. "Leave this place, detective," it said, "or suffer the same fate as those who came before you." Jameson didn't need to be told twice. He turned and ran back through the mansion, the sound of his footsteps echoing through the halls. As he burst through the front door and into the safety of the evening air, he felt a sense of relief wash over him. But as he turned back to look at the mansion, he saw the figure in the hooded cloak standing in the doorway, watching him with empty eyes. Jameson knew that he had stumbled upon something far beyond his comprehension and that he had only scratched the surface of the haunting of the mansion.